Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Let's talk about Manipur because it seems that Manipur is getting chaotic again. It's descended into chaos over the weekend with violent protests which had erupted after six bodies were discovered in the Jiribam district. Now, what has happened politically amid the mounting criticism of the government's failure to restore peace? The National People's Party, that is NPP, on Sunday withdrew its support from the BJP led administration. In fact, the Congress president, Kesham Meghachandra, also added to this political turbulence by saying that I, along with all the Congress MLAs, am ready to resign if the people of Manipur want to bring a new mandate to bring peace in Manipur. And there are also reports that CM Biren Singh had called for a meeting, and apparently some 25 MLAs had given that meeting a miss. Now, what is happening politically as far as N Biren Singh's future is concerned? Is BJP really going to remove him as the chief minister? And we'll also talk about the security situation because today Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge has written a letter to the president seeking her intervention, saying that the situation in Manipur is really horrifying, where the people have lost jobs and the security situation is really out of hand. So we'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is Suhas Chakma, who's the director of the Rights and Risks Analysis Group. Thank you so much, Suhas, for joining. We have Dr. Haukip from the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Thank you so much, Dr. Haukip, for joining. And we have Samir Purkaista, who's a senior editor with the Federal. Thank you so much, Samir, for joining. And I'll begin with Suhas Chakma, that the very fact that NPP leaders have withdrawn their support from the BJP government, and the 25 MLAs didn't go for a meeting which was called in by Chief Minister N Biren Singh. Now, is the position of N Biren Singh now getting untenable? Now, given the fact that Amit Shah was supposed to be in Maharashtra, he cut short his visit, and now they are trying how to restore the situation. So, do you think that that we've reached a situation where apparently now N Biren Singh might be removed as the chief minister?
No, I doubt actually because the situation of uh, Biren Singh, to continue as the chief minister had expired long ago, and he has not been replaced simply because there is no other alternative in the state. If you are looking for another person within the BJP, who could lead the state government, because even if you bring a new particular face, that person is not going to be able to bring together the warring communities. So as far as looking for options at the state level, it's absolutely out. Now the second issue, then what's the option? And in that case, the option would be to impose the president's rule, and the president's rule shall not be imposed for one reason, because if you impose president's rule and you cannot address this extremely difficult and sensitive demands, one, the scheduled tribe status, and the second, the for better or more powerful administrative arrangements from the cookie side, that's not something which can be acceded to if you look at the demands or the dialogue with the Nagas for the last almost 27 years. So these are not easier issues. So if the center takes the responsibility at this point of time, then the entire liability would fall on the prime minister and the home minister. So why should they take the responsibility? They would rather wait for this situation to continue for till the next election, and then the people will decide.
Right. But Samir, coming to you to give a complete perspective of all what has happened over the weekend, uh, given the fact that NPP leaders have withdrawn their support, it's a Congress MLA and the Congress president who said that he's ready to resign. What does it really mean politically, and how is the situation evolving there as far as the politics in Manipur is concerned?
See, from last June last year, we have been hearing the Biren Singh will resign, Biren Singh will resign, and then, this year also several of his own MLAs have written a letter to Prime Minister. Interestingly, not addressing this time to the Home Minister, they have written to Prime Minister seeking his removal. But somehow the BJP central leadership tend to believe that removing Biren Singh is not the solution to this problem, and they are persisting with him. And this resignation, withdrawal of support of NPP, that way will not impact this government, the longevity of this government, unless and until the BJP leadership take a call to remove Biren Singh. And the BJP needs to see the writing on the wall, because now even the Meitei people, the people from Meitei communities are revolting against this government. They are saying that this government has failed to protect them. So if BJP doesn't see the writing on the wall, then it's it's it will do it to its peril. So and and more importantly, the situation has reached to such a has come to such a pass that mere now change of leadership will also not bring any solution. Because the rift has widened so much. It will require much more much more bigger step than just removing president. The entire strategy need to be relooked. So far the center has been trying to deal with this problem through militarily deploying of more forces. And now again they are rushing in more security forces, but not real without realizing that the mere deployment of security forces is not going to change anything. Because if you see in this just during the Lok Sabha elections, 50 companies of central forces were withdrawn, and yet the state during the entire electioneering period, the state was peaceful. So which means that if political leaderships from either sides want to maintain peace, there will be peace in the state. And without with irrespective of whether there are central forces or not. So in the entire phase, when this during this election period, when the central forces were withdrawn, even after the central forces were withdrawn, the state remained peaceful, because the political leaderships were more busy in electioneering rather than instigating trouble. So and
Right.
another coincidence, just see the Jiribam, which was peaceful since 2000, since May 2003, 23. I mean, since May last year, till the election results were announced. Immediately after the election results were announced, where BJP failed to perform well, suddenly, Jiribam has become a new hotspot. This is a very strange coincidence. So these are certain indications that this conflict, behind this conflict, there are vested interest groups. and and unless and until these groups groups or individuals, whoever is instigating this, uh, unless and until they are checked, this will continue. There need to have some political will to check them.
All right. Now, let me come to Dr. Hauke. Now, there are two things which are happening simultaneously. One is the pressure on politics, the pressure on N Biren Singh's government. The very fact that Mallikarjun Kharge wrote a letter to the president, NPP leaders have already withdrawn. Congress president from Manipur is ready to resign and saying that if Manipur needs a fresh mandate, let the peace be restored. So one situation is the political situation, and the other, of course, is the danger to the security of Manipur. What would you really say? What is really happening? And have the things really gone out of hand? And is Manipur beyond repair now?
It's very difficult to even comment on Manipur now because it has been too complex because violence has continued for the last 1.5 years. So there are different factors running and different factors playing into certain roles. But I would say that looking into what BJP has, in terms of their policy or in terms of their election campaign, they have stated that they are into governance rather than government, right? They are saying maximum governance, minimum government, but that has turned to be opposite. Now it's all about government rather than governance. Uh, why is the chief minister of Manipur, after failing for a year and a half, been retained till today, despite all these demands by civil society organizations. Had that been done in the first place last year or even a few months ago, that could have changed, or calmed the sentiment of the people. But that didn't happen. Obviously, now we are losing hope that there can be a president's rule or there can be a change in the chief minister because there are very capable ministers and MLAs within the BJP because many of them have come from the Congress. The Congress ruled this state for 15 years, and Biren Singh is the product of that 15 years of Congress rule. And there are many capable MLAs who could be the next chief minister, but that didn't happen. And of course, uh, certainly, the Manipur problem today is also a part of that kind of politics of those who are vying to be the chief minister of Manipur. And the political dramas had been played twice in the last 2 years, since the assembly elections. So if you look into this, Biren Singh has been a part responsible for this, who has been trying to hold on to power despite the opposition or despite the attempts to change him. So that's one factor. And on the other hand, we could also locate how violence happened, the pattern of this violence. I've indicated earlier also that you know, before the general elections, for almost about 3 months, there was a kind of calm, a kind of peace, I could say. There was devoid of, the state was devoid of violence. But yet, how did it start again? That's very important. And nobody is talking about how violence resurfaced. This is the crux of the problem, to my understanding. Unless we understand how did violence resurfaces, that has to be analyzed and then looked upon by people who could understand the deeper meanings of or the deeper causes of this conflict. Unless we look into that, then I think we fail to see the inner causes of this conflict because it's only in October that the fresh violence started once again in October. Why? Because there was huge demand in August last week that uh, there should be prosecution of Biren Singh because the audio tape which has been submitted to the Ajay Lamba Commission as well as now in the Supreme Court, it's clearly evident that uh, Biren himself confessed that he has caused all this violence and perpetuated. So, in order to divert all these kind of allegations and the kind of pressure that would be made into the central government as well as perhaps within the state government also, he is creating all this violence. Definitely, if you ask anyone from people who could speak out or people who would disclose all this within closed door, then people would blame that. Any intellectual, any concerning person will say that. And the
Right.
second wave of violence recently came after the hearing or even before the hearing of this issue in the Supreme Court. So why should women, children be and other innocent people be blamed or even volunteers be blamed? There is someone who is there who has been causing this kind of violence. unless that has been solved, I think there's no solution to this rounds of violence in the coming months.
True. But looking at the option of the president's rule, so Has, all this while, I mean, there were demands earlier also to bring in a president's rule in Manipur. That demand was not heeded. Now, do you think that now the pressure is such that the center doesn't have an option but to impose a president's rule in Manipur? Will they ever do that?
No, I do not expect the center to impose president's rule. I mean, that's really, I think, the last thing which one could expect from the center. As I say, one of the key issues is in politics is how are you held accountable or responsible. At this point of time, whether we like or dislike, you can put all the blames on Biren Singh. So tomorrow, if the president's rules is imposed, nobody will blame the governor or the security chief. The blame will come with the up to the level of the prime minister and the home minister. So there is no reason for them to impose president's rule unless this situation deteriorates to such an extent. And that is also unlikely. It can be managed. It can be managed for the simple reason because separation of the population is complete. So if you look at the violence which are taking place in the state, these are basically in mixed populated areas. If you look at Jiribam, the majority of the populations in Jiribam are not either the Mars or the Meiteis. The majority of the populations are of other religions or other linguistic groups, whether it's the Hindus or the Bengali speaking populations, etc. And you see some of the attacks which take place, which are basically on the peripheries of the valley or peripheries of the hills. So if you want to control the situation, then in terms of restricting the spread of the violence, it can be done. So this will remain an issue. People will get shocked after 10 days. They will get back to normalcy, and there will not be possible violence or till the beginning of the new year or etc. And people think, okay, Manipur is limping back to normalcy. People who raised that the normalcy has not been restored are the ones who actually do not want peace and etc. Whereas actually I mean, there has never been any attempt, no successful attempt to establish peace, no successful attempts at law enforcement. And I always say that in Manipur, the issue or the role of the security forces is restricted to maintaining, peace. So they are not improving law and order situation. They are just acting as basically you could say mediators between the two communities so that they do not come face to face. So in that kind of a situation, I do not see any possibility of president's rule being imposed. They would say we have sent 5,000 troops. I mean, the situation is brought to normalcy. And of course, when people look at the number of the security forces, of course, the situation will come down or for some period of time. Then another incident will take place. Ultimately, this is something which will be decided by the next assembly elections. Prior to that, I think it's very premature to expect the center or anybody else taking any decisions. I mean, because these
But
are practical issues.
right,
Can I
but this
project
still
on one of
no.
the
There's
points?
yes, yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Hawkip, you're saying something.
Suhas has been so pessimistic about some of the suggestions that, for instance, concerned people from outside or from within the Manipur are suggesting for the last year and a half. There are three suggestions. For instance, the first is imposition of president's rule. Second is the sacking of the chief minister, and third is the imposition of a spa in the valley areas. Despite being reluctant regarding this, I think in the last 4 days after ASPA has been imposed in uh, 6 police stations where the Cookies and Meiteis are in close proximity, those police stations in Infal Valley. I think for the last 4 days there has been a kind of calm, no firing, no incidents of dead and others are largely reported from this state. So I think the minimal kind of suggestion that we have been making that if you impose AFSPA in Infal Valley for perhaps another 6 months, this could change the kind of relations or the kind of situations in Manipur, that I think has for in the last 4 days has been this view has been true, that it has calmed down violence. And there are other two, definitely two other options that we have talked about. Since you have a double engine sarkar, you don't want Manipur government to go. So then, if you are not willing for president rule, then at least change the chief minister. That would do a lot. But I'm saying that the third option, that is imposition of AFSPA in certain areas, that has been successful for the last 4 days. That's
Right.
I wanted to bring it
No,
out.
Right.
no, I completely support imposition of president's rule. I, in fact, on record, had said in this channel, in other channels, that Biren Singh has to go. Not only Biren Singh, I would say the governor should go. The entire security apparatus should go. There should be a new governor. There should be new security chief or new army officer who would be in charge of the unified command. And there should be imposition of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. The army should be in charge, not the state police, which are at this point of time, the state police are in charge of the situation. The armed forces are operating in aid of the civil administration. So I am for all these measures, but I am only talking about the practical reality of how New Delhi would react. It's not that I do not want all these things. I just want to say that having seen the political leadership of the government of India for the last 1.5 years, if they had not taken or imposed president's rule at that point of time, they are not going to impose it now. Because, as I said, I always believe that the moment you impose president's rule, nobody will blame the governor. Nobody will blame the lieutenant general who would be in charge. They will always blame the home minister. They will always blame the prime minister, and they don't want to take that responsibility and let Biren Singh get all the blames. So that's the reality which I was talking about. I am all in
Right.
favor of their second, and in fact,
Right.
there is no justification for their continuation.
Right. Samir, I'll come to you for the concluding remarks that, each time there is a lull in Manipur, then again, after a few weeks, a few months, again, there is a fresh a cycle of violence, and, the situation seems to be going out of hand. But what has happened right now after Jiribam, then NPP leaders withdrawing support from the BJP government, and all what we are seeing politically happening, do you think that Manipur could see a decisive turn of events now, make or break, that you either take a decisive call and improve things in Manipur? Or do you think that this is a situation, or it's still hard to comment which way the
It is
things will?
very difficult to say which way the Manipur will go from here on. But certainly we don't see the things improving immediately. See,
Okay.
because so far we are not seeing any concrete policy from the center. Now, just see the contradiction. Even the center and the states are not on the same page as to how to deal with this situation. The center
Right.
is imposing reintroduce upside in certain areas, six police station areas of the valleys. The state government is opposing. State government has written to the center asking that this should be rolled back. uh, there is no synchrony as to how to deal with this problem. The Biren Singh is trying to pull his administration in one direction. The Home Ministry is pulling it on another direction. The see this problem, to find a solution to this problem, the first thing is that it has to now the situation has reached in such a situation that there will be no military solution. So it the solution will have to come from the within, from the society. Both the people from the wearing groups, the civil society from both sides, they will have to sit together and resolve this problem. It has gone beyond the beyond this government or military level. It is the people who will now have to come out and say we want peace. And the civil society organizations, but and for that to happen, there has to be confidence building measures, so that both the groups can trust each other. And for that confidence building measures, you will have to reach out to both the wedding communities. But the problem is that the two executives, the country's chief executive, prime minister, he could have reached out and visited Manipur, and stood by the affected people, but he has completely abandoned Manipur.
But one quick question before we wind up the show: that do you see that BJP now will be forced to remove Biren Singh, or he's going to continue as he was continuing?
See, similar, even in the past, we have seen the people demanding, Biren Singh's resignation, asking that all the MLAs should resign. But BJP could somehow withstood that pressure, and Biren Singh could continue. So it's very difficult to say whether the pressure will further mount on him, mount on Biren Singh as well as on BJP, to take some drastic step as to as far as composition of the state government is concerned. But immediately, but I don't think immediately the BJP will take such step.
Right. So we'll have to wait and watch, and also keep a close watch on what's happening in Manipur. Who knows that this could be a decisive turn, but whether at all president's rule will be imposed, will BJP take some drastic measures to improve the situation? We'll have to keep a close eye on that. Thank you so much, Suhas Chakma, Dr. Hawkip, Samir. It was wonderful having all of you on the program, and one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us a feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you.